Tower India Echo Lima, downwind 13, touch and go.
India Echo Lima number 3, follow Cessna left base, turning 1 mile final.
好，这边麦公for downwind.
India Echo Lima.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo Tower, fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land runway 13.
Shows one November, clear to land 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, change of plans, crossover midfield, join right downwind, runway 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, crossover midfield, join the right downwind for 13.
Greetings everyone. Today is the third live stream that I've done, and today I thought I would do something a little different. What I'd like to do today is basically look at the Great Lakes of Canada and the United States, but in particular I want to feature on the Welland Canal and the Niagara River. So let me bring up a map of what we're talking about here. So let's just move this over onto the screen. So there's the Great Lakes, the 5 Great Lakes, and they're quite a... Let me just get something else on the screen. Let's get rid of that. Takes me a little while to get things, to get organized. As I said, this is my third live stream, so I'm kind of jumping around. I'm jumping around, so forgive me as I get used to this whole streaming thing. So first of all, let me say that this is the Great Lakes. 5 Great Lakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are the lakes here. This is Lake Superior, which is flowing down from the north, and you've got Lake Michigan, which does not have any contact with Canadian soil, but Lake Michigan is the only one that is all United States. The rest of the lakes all have shared countries, US and Canada. So we've got Lake Michigan flowing into Lake Huron. And this little lake, well, it's not little, but this lake beside Lake Huron is not labeled, but it's called Georgian Bay. And it's flowing into Lake Huron as well. I'm not sure why it's not classified as a Great Lake, but anyway, it's not. And then all of these waters are connected through rivers and a tiny lake called Lake St. Clair. And they all join up into Lake Erie, and Lake Erie is connected to Lake Ontario by way of the Niagara River and also the Welland Canal that we're going to talk about. You can see the size of the lakes as they're depicted there, and just a little bit of facts about the lakes. It's a series of, I'm just reading some notes from the information I've gathered. It's a series of interconnected freshwater lakes in the Mideast region of North America. And it connects everything to the Atlantic Ocean by way of the St. Lawrence River, which is this river right here. Let's go back to the Google map. So let's just zoom in a bit here. So all of these lakes are connected, and they flow into this is New York State, this is Ontario on this side, Ontario, Canada, They flow into the St. Lawrence River, which is also known as the St. Lawrence Seaway, which works its way all the way down into Montreal. Now we're into the province of Quebec City, and then out into the Atlantic. So it enables the ability for ships to travel through the various lakes. The total surface area of the lakes is 94,250 square miles. Great Lakes is the largest group of freshwater lakes on Earth by total area, not by volume, but by total area. And it is responsible for 21% of the world's surface fresh water. So 94,250 square miles. And depending on how it's measured, by surface area, either Lake Superior or Lake Michigan, Lake Huron is the second largest lake in the world and the largest freshwater lake. And all of this began at the end of the last glacial period. So that being said, we're now going to move to how do you get water, how do you get ships, I should say, from all of these lakes into Lake Ontario to get themselves out to the Atlantic Ocean. Well, you can do it by Niagara, the Niagara River. There's Niagara Falls, but there's no way ships can traverse this river because of the difference in height. The elevation is quite substantial. It's 326 feet difference between the north, which is Lake Ontario, and the south, which is Lake Erie. There's Buffalo. So the Canadian government, of course, in conjunction with the US, but it's a Canadian government initiative created many years ago, the Welland Canal. And this canal starts, well, it doesn't start, but this is the Lake Ontario entry to the canal. And there's a series of 8 canals which we're going to be flying over and in. And they work their way all the way down to Lake Erie. And by means of 8 different locks, these massive ships, which we'll talk about later as we're flying in on the canal, we'll talk about the size of the ships and things like that. So that's it. Now, there's no air traffic control on duty today, so we're going to be using the Unicom frequency. We're going to be taking off from St. Catharines Airport. We're just going to make a right crosswind exit just to go up to Lake Ontario, which is just a matter of a minute. Then we're going to turn back south. We're going to follow the canal all the way south. We're going to be flying at an altitude of very low, actually, down the canal, 1,000, maybe 1,500 feet. Once we reach the end of the canal, we will turn east, head over towards Buffalo. Now we have to stay out of... Now let me get my Sky Vector map up. Yeah, we have to stay out of this Class Echo area, but we'll be below 2,200 feet anyway, so we're okay there. And we're going to hug the coastline of Canada. And this is all Class Echo airspace. So we don't have any problems there. I'm going to bring the sky vector map over. So I kind of like the sky vector map because I've mapped out the route. So there we are. This is Class Echo airspace. And further down here is the Class Charlie airspace, which we're going to be staying under 2200, and we're going to hug the coast of Canada, which keeps us out of that airspace. So without any further ado, let's get this ship on the roll. Let's get it sailing. All right, let's move our maps out of the way. Alright, let's just get rid of those maps. Okay, so we're sitting here at St. Catharines. The aircraft is completely prepared. I've done the run-up check. We're really ready to go. Flying the Cessna 172, the default 172. I wanted to fly the modified 210 horsepower modified by Bagaloo, but when I started it up and ran through the checks, my transponder wasn't working, so I'm not sure what's going on there. That might be because of the recent update, but because it used to work. So let's make our way out to runway 24. And let's make our way out to runway 24 now. Get started. Winds today are 280 at 2 knots. Just checking the brakes, make sure everything's good. Check the rudder, steering, everything's good there. While we're taxiing, I'll go ahead and put in 1 notch of flaps. I should watch where I'm taxiing as well. And we'll set our trim for takeoff. Temperature out today is, let's see, 14 degrees Celsius. We've got some cloud cover up ahead, although we're going to be low. And I'll still put on pitot heat just to make sure. And we'll put our fuel pump on. And landing taxi lights can come off. I'm going to leave the taxi lights on, but I'm also going to turn the landing lights on. I forgot to put my nav lights on. Okay. Thank goodness for checklists. Water rudder is retracted. So rotate speed is 55 knots. I usually like to rotate at about 60. With a positive rate of climb, we'll bring the gear up. Like I said, I really miss the modified 172 with the 210 horsepower. I forgot to make my radio calls. St. Catharines traffic, Cessna Delta Echo Whiskey at runway 24 departing with a right crosswind departure for VFR flight, St. Catharines. Yeah, this whole streaming business kind of makes me nervous, but I'll get used to it. Alright, we've got full throttle. Airspeed is not alive, it is now alive. Got 40 knots. We have 50 knots, 55 knots. We could rotate at 60. Yeah, the 210 horsepower. Oh, and this is an annoying.
Gears down for runway landing.
Okay, gears coming up. The 210 horsepower Cessna has so much power, it's just amazing. So we're gonna turn right now.
Gears up for water landing. Gears up for water landing.
Yeah, I know the gear's up for water landing. I want it up.
Gears up for water landing. Gears up for water landing.
This doesn't happen in the modified Cessna. St. Catharines traffic, Cessna Delta Echo Whiskey, clear of runway 24 on a right-hand exit crosswind, right-hand crosswind. Okay, I'm just checking my map on the other side here.
Gears up for water landing.
Oh, that is so annoying.
Gears up for water landing.
I know the gear's up for the water
Gears up
landing.
for water
I'm
landing.
not doing a water landing.
Gears
So,
up for water landing.
there's the entrance to the
Gears up for water
canal.
landing.
This is Lake Ontario.
Gears up for water landing.
I think we'll just level off here at 1,500 feet. And we'll turn around now and we'll follow the canal south. Okay. This little little beach just over here is called Sunset Beach. And you can see the reason. On a nice day with sunset, they've got a beautiful view of the sky. So we're not really setting ourselves at a strict altitude. We're anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 feet. Very first lock that we come to is lock number 1, and it is right there. You can see it through the window right there. We're going to go down a little bit lower. And take a look at it. See a freighter is in the lock right now. Gotta keep to the right of the canal so we can see. There's the lock there. And we're coming up now to lock number 2. This is lock number 2. No ships in the lock. It's dry. This is the Garden City Skyway coming up. In the 210 horsepower 172, I can go under that bridge and get back up before the railroad bridge crossing. Right after it, you can see the railroad bridge crossing right there. Okay, the next series of locks coming up will be lock 3. Better watch what I'm doing. Keep looking at my map to see which lock is coming up next. This is lock number 3. We're only flying at 600 feet right now, but that's okay. This is lock number 3. And then the next series of locks will be 4, 5, and 6, and they're all in a row, very close together. And that's because at that point, there's some towers there, so I'm just going to go off to the right. At that point, the elevation comes up quite severe, so they need 3 locks to get the ships up. And I'm just going to slide over now that we've passed this. So there's lock number 4, and there's lock number 5. And that's lock number 6. And then we get lock number 7 directly after it, which is right here. See some water in the lock. Then we have about 17 nautical miles of canal before we get to the last lock, which is lock number 8. So at some point along here, we'll take a quick little dip in the water. Just do a touch and go in the water. Just lower our speed a bit. Put our flaps down, and we have to be careful because the elevation changes abruptly, and unfortunately it hasn't been coded properly in Microsoft, and you end up going into a waterfall. Alright, I'm going to put in 2 notches of flaps. We'll just go in here and have a quick little dip in the water. Okay, gear is up. Water rudders are up.
Gears up for water landing.
Yeah,
Gears up for water landing.
it better be up for water landing.
Gears up for water landing.
There we are. That was a nice
Gears up for water landing.
touchdown splash, but now we better get going right away, because we've got a bridge coming up ahead of us.
Gears up for water landing. Gears up for water landing.
I hope everyone's got their seat belts
Gears up for
snugly
water landing.
secured.
Gears up for water landing.
I chose this hour of the day specifically because when we get around to the Niagara River, we can hopefully see some of the lights of the river. Okay. We can start climbing a little bit now because we're not gonna dunk ourselves in the water anymore. So, further off in the horizon is Lake Erie. And this I'll just swing to the right a little bit. This river comes off the canal and works way around. It's called the Welland Recreational Canal. Welland Airport is just to the west, just right about there. A lot of construction cranes down here. You can see the elevation separation right there. Microsoft hasn't captured that properly. When we get out to Lake Erie and we start heading east, I'll give you a little bit of facts on the Welland Canal, because the Lake Erie part of the journey is a little boring. Not much happening there. Yeah, let's check our instruments. All good. Everything's good. Fuel flow. Everything's good. Now I should turn that fuel pump off. I turned it off before, although I left it on because I knew we were going to be landing in the canal. So there's Lake Erie, just south of us. So lock number 8, which is the last lock, is right at the mouth of Lake Erie and the canal. Lock number 8 is right about there. Going up too high. Let's get back down. There's part of that river. It's coming back from the canal now. And let's get down to maybe 1,500 feet to get the last look of lock number 8. We'll hang in here at about 1,500 feet. And as we head east on Lake Erie, we have about 14 nautical miles before we get to Buffalo. So here's lock number 8 coming up. Maybe we should get down to 1,000 feet. There's an apartment building. We don't want to get too close to that. Oh, there we are. You can wave to the people in the apartment building. So there's the lock right here. Get some altitude going. Gates are closed on the lock, that's why there's no water in it. And we are entering the entrance to Lake Erie. Alright, we're gonna head east. And we'll get ourselves up to about 1,500 feet, no higher than 2,000. Because in case we get into that, we don't want to get into the Charlie airspace at Buffalo, which starts at 2,200 feet. There's a lighthouse. A nice lighthouse right out here, but it's not depicted on the Microsoft scenery. And I do have a lighthouse package, but it didn't show up in that package. Now let's hang in right here, about 1,700 feet. Alright, so let me just tell you a little bit about the canal that we just passed through. We just traversed. Keep an eye on where I'm going, but I'll We don't want to go over 2,000. Let's keep our altitude about there. Yeah, that should be good there. Hands-free. That should be good. So the Welland Canal. It's a ship canal in Ontario, Canada, connecting Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. It forms a key section of the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Great Lakes Waterway. It traverses the Niagara Peninsula. Oops. Hard to read and fly at the same time. It traverses the Niagara Peninsula from Port Weller in St. Catharines to Port Colborne. It enables ships to ascend and descend the Niagara Escarpment and bypass Niagara Falls. Get our altitude back down. I could reduce power, but I've left the power full power and I'm just gaining some airspeed. With the full power, it wants to keep me going up. So let me continue. So the Welland Canal serves about 3,000 ships annually, and they transport about 40 million tons of cargo a year. Welland Canal was a major growth in the development of Toronto. And it allows goods from the Great Lakes ports of Cleveland, Detroit, Milwaukee, Chicago to be shipped to the port of Montreal or to Quebec City, where they are usually reloaded onto ocean-going vessels for international shipping. You know what I'm doing here that's causing all this swaying in the aircraft? I'm trying to read notes on my left monitor and I'm flying on the right monitor, and I've got my feet on the rudder pedals and I keep pressing down on the right rudder for some reason, so I better pay attention to that. It's not a good thing. So what else did I not tell you? So the southern Lake Erie terminus of the canal is 326 feet higher than the northern terminus at Lake Ontario. The canal includes 8 80-foot wide ship locks. 7 of the locks, locks 1 to 7, are lift locks, and they are 766 feet long, and they raise or lower the passing ships by between 43 and 49 feet. Southernmost lock, lock 8, they call it the guard or the control lock, is 1,148 feet in length. The maximum permissible length of a ship in this canal is 740 feet. And it takes ships an average of approximately 11 hours to traverse the entire length of the canal, which is about 22 nautical miles long. The Niagara River to the east of the canal is approximately 29 nautical miles long, which is what we are approaching right now. So that's the end of the information about the canal. Let me concentrate on flying, because we're coming up to the Class Delta, or Class Charlie, I should say, airspace. But we're at 1,800 feet, so we're okay. So what you're looking at out ahead of us there is Buffalo. It's Buffalo, New York. And this is the start of the Niagara River going up to Lake Ontario. So we are going to hug the coastline of Canada so that we don't interfere with any Class Charlie or Class Delta airspaces. Winds are 280 at 4 knots. Got a nice sunset that's going to happen. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna land in the water here. And we're going to go under the Peace River Bridge, which connects Buffalo to Fort Erie. Let's get our speed down. Let's just pop out here a little bit. Put in 1 notch of flaps. A little high speed for 1 notch of flaps, but I think that we're okay actually. Alright, hand on the throttle. Let's go under the Peace Bridge. Got a few ripples on the water. Now let's take this entry right here. Okay, gently. Let's get it on the let's get it on the step.
Gears up for water landing.
On the step.
Gears up for
Come on,
water
Dane,
landing.
get it on the step.
Gears up for water
Here we are.
landing. Gears up for water landing.
Yeah, I'm not going to put the rudder down because
Gears
we're
up
going
for
to be
water landing.
taking off.
Gears up for water landing. Gears up for water landing.
Okay.
Gears up for water landing.
Flaps have been adjusted.
Gears up for water landing.
Let's go again.
Gears
Let's
up
take
for water
off.
landing. Gears up for
Get it
water
on the
landing.
step. Get it on the step. Get
Gears
it
up
on the
for water
step.
landing. Gears up for water
There we are.
landing.
Alright, so we are hugging the coastline of Canada to stay out of the Charlie airspace. Flaps fully retracted. Let's quickly show you where we are. We are there. Here's the Charlie airspace. And we're hugging the left shore of Canada. When we get here, we might just flop in and do an overpass of this private field. That's on Grand Island. Though it is getting a little dark, we might not be able to see it. It's probably not a wise thing to do, but what the heck. we gotta stay out of the Charlie airspace. We're good. We're completely out of the Charlie airspace. Just looking at my map, and we are nowhere near the airspace now, so we're good. So right as we go around this bend here and we go on the straightaway, if we take a heading of 20 degrees right about here, if we take up a heading of 20 degrees, we should overfly that private airfield. But it is quite dark. This is not a wise thing to do. Let's pop over the canopy and see if we can see what we're doing. Actually, there it is right there. There it is right there. It's below the airplane. You can't see it now. Okay, let's get back over the... Ah, gosh, let's get back over the canal. Ah, boy. This part of the canal right here is called Sheen Water. Sheen is in S-H-E-E-N. And you can see why. At sunset like this, the water has a beautiful sheen to it. Now we're not near the Delta airspace yet. It starts just at Navy Island, which is our next small island ahead of us. So that's Navy Island right there, and the Delta airspace for Niagara Falls International completely covers that island. So it's the edge of the Delta is right along this west shore of Navy Island. So we're gonna just stick to Canadian coastline. Way off in the distance you can see the lights of St. Catharines Airport where we took off from. And right here is Niagara Falls. This section of land coming out in the water is to do with the Ontario Hydro. They get a lot of the water flows through there, and through viaducts down below the earth, they channel the water to their huge generators to produce the power. So we're going to do some dangerous things here. I hope everyone has their seat belts tightly fastened. Going to reduce our speed a bit. There's the falls. You can see the start of the Horseshoe Falls, which is on the Canadian side. The American Falls is just a straight fall. You'll see that in a few minutes. We're going to just reduce our speed. Put our fuel pump on. Alright, so we're gonna circle around to the east. I'm gonna put in a notch of flaps. There's the falls right there. Gotta watch what I'm doing. Want to stall and put us in the drink. There's the Canadian Falls, the Horseshoe Falls. Stay at about 70 knots and 1,000 feet.
Here's up for water landing.
This is why I chose this. There's the Maid of the Mist boat. It takes the people out for sightseeing.
Here's up for water landing.
And we'll just move out here to the west side so that we can get a view of the American Falls. What we'll do is we'll just come down north and we'll swing back to the south, head towards the Canadian Falls, and then we should see the American Falls on the that's the Rainbow Bridge right there. So there's the American Falls right there. Look out the left window. Very nice.
Here's up for
Whoop.
water landing.
Take control, Dane, take control. Alright, let's move down and fly down the Niagara Gorge. We can fly under the Rainbow Bridge. How's that? There's the American Falls right there on the right hand side. There's a Maid of the Mist down below us. This is the Rainbow Bridge. Very busy bridge between New York State and Lake Ontario. Alright, let's get a little higher now. Because the next event that we'll be coming to will be the... Whoops, let's get ourselves some altitude. Next event we'll be coming to is the Whirlpool corner. It takes a 90-degree turn to the right. There's a cable car. There's a cable car that runs. Okay, so there's the Whirlpool. The famous Whirlpool and the cable car, which you may not see because it's a little dark tonight. Well, there's a cable, there's one of the cars right there. There's a cable car right there. Yep. Alright, we gotta take a right turn, a sharp right turn. Keep the canal below us. And the next event is the New York State, there's a large, I'm just trying to find it on my map. It's a large water reservoir There it is right there. You know, I maybe should have done this a little bit lighter. That's okay. Kind of fun doing this. Okay, so really that's all the excitement. That's the Lewiston Bridge that we're flying over right now. Okay, and we're back to Lake Ontario ahead of us. Way over on the horizon, which you cannot see, is Toronto. Now, we'll just follow the canal out a little bit further, and then we'll turn west on a 240-degree heading, which should bring us in a straight-in approach to runway 24. See where we are. Yeah, we want to get up. We want to get up right about this bend right here. Right about here, and then we're going to turn to 240 degrees. And that's about 6 miles from the airport. That's New York State. It's Ontario. There's the approach lights. Runway 24. We can turn in now. I'll give a call to traffic. Elevation of the airport is 320 feet. The traffic pattern is 1300. St. Catharines traffic. Cessna Delta Echo Whiskey, 2,000 feet on straight-in approach for runway 24, 6 nautical miles from the airport, St. Catharines. All right, let's start thinking about our landing. We're at 2,000 feet. Traffic pattern is 1,300. 100 nautical miles an hour. Just do a quick check. Fuel. Undercarriage needs to go down. Mixture is rich. Fuel undercarriage mixture. Props. Lower speed. Fuel pump is on. Water rudder is up. Let's make sure. It's down. Water rudder is up. We're at 1,000 feet right now. Reduce our speed. We are low, obviously. Let's get up a little bit higher, especially in this time of day where you can't really see. Okay, I'll put 2 notches of flaps in. Actually, we're gonna put all 3 notches of flaps in right now. And let's just, winds are 280 at 4 knots. Light left crosswind. Need a little bit more power. I should say a slight right crosswind, not a left crosswind. We did make the approach too low, no question about it. It's a dangerous thing to do. And we're a little hot, so let's settle down here.
Gears down for runway landing.
Let it flare.
Gears down for runway landing.
With a slight bounce.
Gears down for runway landing. Gears down for runway landing. Gears down for runway landing.
This yoke that I have is
Gears down for runway landing.
Logitech
Gears down for
Satec
runway
yoke, and it is a sticky
Gears
yoke.
down for runway landing.
Oh, will this guy keep quiet?
Gears down for runway landing.
Jeez. Doesn't he know I'm on the runway? Let's just stop here and clean up the aircraft. St. Catharines traffic. Cessna Delta Echo Whiskey is clear of runway 24, proceeding to the ramp, St. Catharines. Okay, let's see what we have to do. Taxi lights on, we can turn the landing lights off. Nav lights can come off. Strobes can come, although at night we should leave the nav lights on. Fuel pump can come off. Pitot heat can come off. And we are good to proceed. I think we'll see if we can just pull right into that hangar. It's a beautiful hangar with the African theme. Seems to be an aircraft parked right in front of it, though. Silly place to park an aircraft. Oh, we could, excuse me, we could pull into this one. Make our way around this aircraft. No, we can't. Get that, Dane. That's not gonna work. Let's go to the next hangar. And behind this looks like a Cirrus. SR-22 maybe. There we are. We have arrived. Brakes are on. Parking brakes are set. Avionics are off. Lean the mixture. And throttle to cutoff. That was 43-minute flight. Alternator off. Beacon light off. Taxi light off. Fuel valve closed. Panel lights off. Master battery off. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our trip. Let's get out of the, oh, we forgot the flaps, so let's get back in and power it back up. Forgot to track the flaps when we cleared the runway. Okay, there we are. We're now clear. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little bit nerve-wracking for me I'm getting used to the streaming a little bit more, but what really taxes me is when I'm looking at my map that I want to talk about, and when I'm looking at notes, I'd get distracted with the stream, and but anyway, it'll come in time. I'm really not too worried about it. So with that, I want to thank you for checking me out, and hopefully we'll see some people on the next stream. Goodbye for now.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo, pull up and go around.
Go around, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Tower India Echo Lima, downwind 13, touch and go.
India Echo Lima number 3, follow Cessna left base, turning 1 mile final. Positive, Michael, for downwind.
India Echo Lima.
Foxtrot Bravo Bravo Tower, fly runway heading.
Fly runway heading, Foxtrot Bravo Bravo.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land runway 13.
Charlie Zulu November, clear to land 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, change of plans, crossover midfield, join right downwind, runway 13.
Zulu Sierra Alpha, crossover midfield, join the right downwind for 13.